Alright, today I'm going to talk about a Magic the Gathering deck that I have, and this deck I call Underworld Dreams because that's the central card in this deck. Basically, the strategy of this deck is to make the opponent draw a lot of cards and make them lose life by drawing cards until eventually, of course, they lose. So yeah, that's where all the cards come from. Actually, this is going to be the second video talking about it because the first iteration I've already talked about, but this is the second iteration with a few different changed cards. So let's go over it, talk about why I have each of these cards and what they do in this deck. So yes, again, the main theme of this deck is to make the opponent draw a lot of cards and take damage from having a lot of cards. And it's a mono black deck. So basically, yeah, let's go over the cards here. So this card's Sun Droplet. Yeah, whenever I'm dealt damage, I get that many charge counters on it. And then at the beginning of each player's turn, I remove a counter. Then if I do, I gain 1 life. Basically, the reason I have this is to eventually gain back all the life that I've been dealt. It's a very useful card. It's actually a really good uncommon. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like much, but when you have multiple of these out, you can actually gain more life than you lost eventually. And yeah, whenever you dealt damage, you eventually gain it all back, and especially great in multiplayer, which, by the way, this deck is great in multiplayer. It's really meant as a multiplayer deck. Yeah, so eventually you'll gain back all the life that you lost. After each player's turn, you eventually keep taking away the charge counters, which accumulate after every time you dealt damage, right? So it's a great card to have, especially when you have multiples on them on the field. Okay, next card is old school card, but still it was considered really good back then. I guess nowadays it's not considered as good as before, but still pretty good. Necropotence. For 3 black mana, it's a really powerful card because, okay, you don't draw anymore, you skip your draw phase, and also whenever you discard a card, you remove that card from the game. Okay, those are drawbacks. But the positive side is that you pay 1 life and you basically draw a card. So, and you can do this as many times as you have life, basically. So once you put this down, okay, you don't draw any cards anymore from the regular draw step. And of course, when you discard, you exile the cards, which is not good. But on the other hand, you can draw as many cards as you have life. So yeah, like you pay 5 life, you draw 5 cards, basically. The difference between this and something like Yawgmoth's Bargain, which is a more powerful card in many ways. This is cheap. It's only 3 mana, so you can use a Dark Ritual to put it out. I don't have any Dark Rituals in this deck, but a lot of people use this for Dark Ritual. And yeah, you get that card in the hand at the beginning of your discard phase. So basically, yeah, so different from Yawgmoth's Bargain, because Yawgmoth's Bargain, you pay 1 life to draw a card and you get it immediately. This one, you pay 1 life and you get the card at the end of the turn, essentially. So you can't use it right away, but you get it next turn. So that's the other, not as good, of course, as just getting it right away. But hey, yeah, the beginning of your discard phase. So yeah, it's still powerful because you just get as many cards as you want. Of course, when you discard, you got to remove from the game, so you still got to make sure you don't get too many. But just being able to pay life to draw cards is amazing. You know, that's such an amazing benefit. So, great card, very powerful. Okay, No Mercy. This is a really cool enchantment card, old school. So for 4 mana, whenever a creature does damage to me, it dies. So basically, this will discourage creatures from attacking me, because if they do damage to me, they die. So very, very powerful enchantment. Yeah, very useful for this deck because this deck doesn't really, well, it has a few creatures, but really not many. It tries not to rely on creatures, mostly rely on enchantments and artifacts. That's good. Tango Wire, a very annoying card to use. I mean, annoying for the opponent, I would say. Yeah, so this is the card that when I use this deck, it's very, very annoying for the opponents. This is one of the reasons why is cards like this. So Tango Wire, what it does, it comes with 4 counters on it. And then at each turn, you have to tap something for each counter on it. So either artifact, creature, or land. And of course, if you tap something, then you can't use it, right? So yeah, it has 4 counters. Each turn you remove a counter. So every turn, everyone will have to tap 4. Next turn, they'll have to tap 3. They have to tap 2. They have to tap 1 until this dies. But it's just very, very annoying, right? If they have to tap all this stuff, it makes it very hard for them to do anything. So just a very, very annoying card. Imagine if you have multiple of these on the field, and then how they have to keep tapping stuff. Like, people get very annoyed at that card. Which makes this deck really annoying to play against. Portcullis. Another old school card. I have a lot of old school cards in this deck. So whenever any creature comes into play, into the battlefield, if there's 2 or more creatures on the battlefield, that creature is basically exiled. And then when this thing dies, that creature comes back. So they're not permanently exiled, but at the same time, it's annoying because basically this card means that if there's just two or more creatures on the battlefield, you can't play any more creatures, basically. So this also reduces the amount of damage I can take because the amount of creatures on the battlefield are limited. So very annoying card to play against as well. Okay, Anvil Bogarden. Another old school card. So each player skips their discard phase. This is useful because if I have something like Necropotence... Actually, wait. That's not good if I have Necropotence. Never mind. I think I get the cards from Necropotence. Okay. Anyways, this means that... yeah, if you have more than 7 cards in your hand, you don't have to discard anymore because you skip your discard phase. But during each player's draw phase, you draw an additional card and then you discard a card. So every player now has to draw an additional card during their draw phase, and then they have to discard a card from it. So this deck, because they want people to take damage, I want people to draw cards in this deck to take damage. So it's good that they draw an extra card from this, basically. So that's why I have it. Basically, it's very similar to Howling Mine, except they have to discard a card. And plus, they have an unlimited hand size, essentially, as well. Okay, Fate Unraveler. This is basically a creature version of Underworld Dreams. So whenever an opponent draws a card, Fate Unraveler deals 1 damage to that player. Yep, it's basically the creature version of the Underworld Dreams effect. So what's better than Underworld Dreams? Well, 2 versions of Underworld Dreams, right? It's an enchantment creature. So of course I had to put this card in this deck because essentially I can double the effect by having another card that does the same thing. So that's good. Except it's a creature, so it's a bit easier to kill, but whatever. Memory Jar, okay. It's a holographic, 5 mana. So what this thing does, I sacrifice it. Each player exiles all cards from their hand and draws 7 cards. And then at the beginning of the next turn, end of the next turn, each player discards their hand and returns. So basically what this does, if I use it, every player has to set aside their hand to draw 7 cards. And then they have to use those cards by the end of next turn. And then those cards get discarded at the end of that turn. They get their original cards back. The reason why I have this is because they draw 7 cards. And if you have a card like this on the field, then everyone, is going to take 7 damage. So, yeah. That's a easy way for them to take damage, basically, if I use that, if I pop that. Soul Ring, I mean, why not? This is such a great card. 1 mana, tap, add 2 mana. I mean, just such a great card. Right, gotta have it. Okay, Iron Maiden, another annoying card to play against. So, like the old school cards in this deck. During each opponent's turn, if they deals 1 damage to that player for each card more than 4. So yeah, so basically every turn, during each of my opponent's upkeep. So the difference between this and Black Vice, which does something similar, is that this affects every opponent. Black Vice only affects 1. So basically for all opponents, if they have more than 4 cards, they deal that much more damage. So if they have 7 cards, it deals 3 damage, for example. Very annoying to play against, of course, when they're drawing a lot of cards. Dark Ritual. Actually, I do have Dark Ritual in this deck. I forgot about that. Okay. So in that case, yes, I can play Necropotence on the first turn. Yeah, Dark Ritual into Necropotence. What a classic combo. Yeah, tap 1 mana, add 3 mana to my mana pool, so I can quickly cast stuff. Good card. Font of Mythos. Okay. 4 mana. At the beginning of each player's turn or draw step, that player draws 2 additional cards. So it's like, yeah, you play this, and they keep drawing more cards. 2 additional cards. So if you just play this, they draw 3 cards every turn. So you can imagine, right? It's going to stack up. It's like a double Howling Mine. Okay, Greer Reach Sanitarium. This is a special land here. This legendary land, I can use it for each player draws a card and then each player discards a card. Of course, anything drawing card is gonna like the idea of this deck is to make people take damage when they draw cards. So, yeah, having a land that forces everyone to draw a card is great. And Spiteful Visions. So yeah, again, another enchantment that every player draws a card and another card during the draw step, and then whenever they draw a card, it deals 1 damage. So basically, it's a combination of a Howling Mine and an Underworld Dreams effect. So they take additional damage whenever they draw. And that's really the theme of this deck, right? The theme of this deck is they take damage whenever they draw cards. So already they draw in an extra card. You stack this onto the other effects that take damage when they draw a card, and stack this on the other effects that add more cards, then yeah, you can imagine that's going to stack up over time. Sculpting Steel. So 3 mana, and I can copy any artifact on the field, not just mine. But yeah, if I copy my own, like say I copy this one here, then instead of drawing 2 additional cards, you can draw an additional 2 extra cards. So you draw like 4 additional cards. Like the amount of stuff I can copy on with this thing is pretty nuts. So yeah, why not? You know, have one of these on and just copy something that'll just help me, you know? So it's always good. I think I have a lot of artifacts in this deck, so it makes sense to have that. This is really useful. You have no maximum hand size. When I'm drawing so many cards and I don't have to discard it, that's even better, right? And it only affects me. My opponent still has to discard, but I have no maximum hand size. That helps me. Another legendary land here. This one, each player draws a card. So it's a little bit similar to the other land, except this one, this land, they discard a card. This land, they don't. Just each player draws a card. So, you know, take additional damage. What else do I have here? Howling Mine, of course, this is the card I was talking about. Yeah, just every turn, if this is untapped, that player draws another card. So, yeah. They just keep drawing cards. I have another Sculpting Steel here. Oh, I have Shadra the Apocalypse. I think this is a newer card I have here. I put in 4 mana for 4/5 Death Touch. Whenever I draw a card, I gain 2 life. And then whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. So it's a no-brainer for this deck. We're all drawing a lot of cards in this deck. Except when I draw a card, I gain life. And when they draw a card, they lose additional life. In addition to all the other enchantment effects. Like, so you can imagine how much damage they'll be taking, right? Okay, this is a very annoying card, Teferi Tainted Aether. So whenever a creature comes into play, its controller sacrifices a creature or land. So I do have some creatures in this deck, but really not many. I try to keep my creatures limited. So this will be mostly affecting my opponent. My opponents. So yeah, if they play a lot of creatures or tokens or whatever, then you know, tough luck with something like this. Teferi's Puzzle Box. Okay, so each player's draw step, that player puts a card on in his or her hand on the bottom of the library and then draws that many cards. Basically, what this will do is force the opponent to basically draw the amount of cards that they already have in their hand. So this is actually pretty insane. So every turn, whatever the amount of cards you have in your hand, you have to draw that much. And you can imagine when they're taking damage from all those enchantments and stuff. Like, imagine having, like, yeah, just 5 cards in your hand, for example. Every turn, you draw another 5 cards. And then you draw additional cards from all those other effects. You take additional damage from all those effects. Like, yeah, that's why this is so good in this deck. It really ups the damage. Oh, yeah, so here's the namesake of this deck here, Underworld Dreams. So why is it called Underworld Dreams? Because of this card here. Whenever an opponent draws a card, deals 1 damage. Yep. So you guys have seen so many similar effects, but they all stack up, right? So imagine having just so many of these up on the field, and they're going to take tons of damage whenever they draw. Okay, Bloodchief Ascension is 1 mana enchantment. This is really useful for this deck because it says at the beginning of each end step, if an opponent lost 2 or more life, you put a quest counter. That's really easy to do with this deck because they're likely to lose life from drawing the cards and then taking damage. So it's likely to get a quest counter. But then it says whenever a card is put in an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, if it has 3 or more quest counters, I may have that player lose 2 life, and if they do, I gain 2 life. Basically, yeah, if they lose 2 or more life a turn, this gets a counter on it. Whoops. That's pretty easy to do in this deck. Then if it has 3 or more quest counters, I mean, they'll be discarding, right? They have a lot of cards in their hand, they'll be discarding. And then when it's put into opponent's graveyard from anywhere, which means if they discard a card, even if, yeah, so if something dies, first of all, something dies, they have to, this thing takes effect. And if they discard a card, this thing also takes effect. Then I can have that player lose 2 life and gain 2 life from it every time. So for every card they discard, or any creature that dies, then that player loses 2 life and I gain 2 life. Yeah, or if they play any card too. If they play a card, it goes into the graveyard, of course. So this thing's really useful. They take additional damage and I gain life. It's great. Yeah, so let's see. I haven't shown Crawl Space. Pretty cool card. That's another old card here. No more than 2 creatures can attack me. Yeah, so, you know, good luck doing damage to me when only 2 creatures can attack. And then they get destroyed from no mercy. Static Orb. Oh, this is such an annoying card for people. 3 mana. If it's untapped, players can't untap more than 2 permanents during their tap steps. Basically, every turn, you can only untap 2 things. Again, good luck doing anything if you could only untap 2 lands or 2 whatever's a turn. You know, meanwhile, they're drawing a shit ton of cards and taking tons of damage, and they can't even do much about it if they can only untap 2 things a turn, right? So yeah, I can see, you guys can see why people don't like this deck. It's really annoying to play against. Here we go, Painful Quandary, 5 mana. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless they discard a card. Again, another annoying thing to play against, right? Whenever you play anything, you lose 5 life unless you discard a card. Which then you'll take damage from the spiteful, actually no, that Bloodchief Ascension thing, yeah. So, yeah, another annoying card to play against. Static Orb again, Iron Maiden, oh, Temple Bell, I have this one too. So this is just 3 mana, tap, each player draws a card. You know, adding more card drawing is always good in this deck. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. This deck, as you guys can see, is very annoying to play against. Yeah, basically, goal is simple. It's great in multiplayer. The more players, the better, you know? Make all the opponents draw a bunch of cards and make them take damage whenever they do it, and then try to limit anything they can do. Basically, yeah, I've been... this is the deck that kind of got me banned from some places. They really don't like this deck. They're like, don't play, like if you play this kind of deck, then you're out. You know, like they really don't like to play against this deck because you can imagine, right? Every turn, they can't play much. They got tap. They can only untap 2 things. Like you have the Tangle Wire, you got to tap stuff, and the Static Orb, you can't untap more than 2. And then you're taking damage, just drawing cards every turn. You can't do anything about it. Yeah. It's really annoying, and they're taking damage, meanwhile I'm gaining life. So it's a very annoying deck to play against, but hey, I really like this deck. I love it because it's just a delightfully sadistic deck to play against people. So anyways, Underworld Dreams deck, all right, version 2. Hope you guys enjoyed that little analysis. Let me know what you guys think of that deck.